Okay, welcome to our gentle class today. The theme is following the breath or paying attention to the breath today. So last week we were using the sensations in the body to bring a sense of mindfulness to our practice and also a better opportunity to check in with ourselves, as we often kind of ignore our bodies. And the breath is, it's always there. It's coming and going all the time, but most of the time we're just blissfully unaware of it. Today, we're going to bring some more awareness to the breath. And the idea is that we're going to work on creating a sense of spaciousness with the breath. So not breathing as deeply as we can, but bringing more awareness to the breath, to where it moves, and to inviting a little more space with the breath, and then doing some movements that help to also expand the space that the breath can move into. And the idea is that when we expand our feeling in our body, the feeling of expansion in our body, it allows us to feel less stressed in general. So the feeling of stress is like being squeezed. There's not enough space and time. And we have this feeling of being squished and squeezed, like our back is against the wall or something like that. And the opposite is feeling expanded, feeling open and feeling easeful. And that corresponds to feeling good, right? To feeling at ease in our bodies. So we're looking to feel some expansion. Never ever force your breath. Main thing here is the breath should always be comfortable. You can take a deeper breath at times, but you don't want to feel like you're straining or forcing the breath in any way. And I'm going to give you lots of different options for how to breathe during this class, and you can always just ignore them and just breathe normally. All right. We're going to start lying down today so you can get comfortable on your mat. You can lie down with your knees bent and your hands resting on your body somewhere where it's comfortable and you can feel your breath. So as you come to lie down, letting your hands rest one a little higher towards the rib cage, one a little lower towards your belly. Your knees can be bent, and that just gives your lower back a little more support. But if you're more comfortable with your legs straight, that's fine too. I like to have my knees a little bit, my feet a little bit wider apart, so my knees can fall together, and then they support one another. So you might try that if you're feeling like some effort to hold your legs in that position. You're going to tune into your breathing. So this means you're not changing your breath, you're just noticing it as it is. So you're breathing in and out. And you have your hands here for just a little bit more somatic awareness. So you can notice the hands move with your breath. Does one hand move more? Does one hand move first? Or maybe you don't feel much movement with your breath, and that's fine too. So there's no right or wrong answers today. We're using the breath as a tool for mindfulness, so bringing ourselves to the present moment through paying attention to the breath. We're also using the breath as a tool for gentle expansion. But right now, just breathing normally, noticing, tuning in. Allowing yourself to make the transition from whatever you were doing before, whether that was something really relaxed and easeful or something more stressful or vigorous. Just taking this time to settle. Feel your breath. There's nothing else to do. We're going to add some passive positions that just bring a little bit more space around the area where we breathe. So the first one, you can take one arm and take it out to the side or overhead, wherever it can be comfortable. So you don't want your elbow to be up off the ground. You want your elbow and your hand to be comfortably on the ground. Elbow can be bent, it's no problem. Arm can be straight up to the side or even lower if that's more comfortable for you. And then we'll take the leg of the same side and stretch it out. And then if you imagine a split down the center of your body, right through your forehead, your nose, your mouth, right through your torso, the center of your torso, all the way down. So one leg and arm is on one side, the other leg and arm on the other side. And I invite you to imagine that you're breathing all the way from the fingertips to the toes of the side that's extended now. So let your imagination fill that side with breath as you breathe in. Let that side completely relax as you breathe out. If you have to move or change positions so your shoulder's comfortable, please do. So leg is relaxed, arm is relaxed, and we're just imagining breathing into this whole long side. And then let's transition to bring that knee into the chest, bring that hand to the knee, give a little squeeze, and now you're compressing that side in. Just breathing normally here, a few breaths. And then after squeezing in, let's stretch out again and send the breath all the way to the fingers and toes. And then let's lower that arm back down, bend the knee, and pause for a moment to notice if you feel different one side to the other. And there's no right or wrong answer. There's no specific way you should feel. Just noticing, is there a difference between the two sides after bringing your focus more to one side for a few minutes? And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So stretching out the arm, stretching out the leg, and again, making sure that your arm is comfortable and relaxed. You relax the leg, just let the foot flop to the side or whatever's comfortable. And then we're going to imagine that split in the body again and breathing into that long side. So just visualizing breath to your fingertips, all the way down your arm into your armpit, the side of your body, down into your leg, and all the way to your foot. Obviously, breath is not moving into these areas. You're just imagining. Relax that arm and leg as much as you can. And then we'll switch to squeezing in. So you can bring that knee in, bring your hand to your knee and give a little squeeze. Keep breathing. Notice that it's obviously a little more challenging to breathe into the space because it's constricted here. And then we'll stretch that side out again and take a few more breaths, focusing on letting the breath fill that open side of the body. And then let's bring that arm down and bend the knees. So both knees are bent again, and we'll bring both knees into the chest. So drawing the knees towards you as you exhale, moving the knees away as you inhale. And as I said earlier, you can coordinate the breath with your movements, or you can always just breathe and move freely. So any of the breath cues that I give you, they're always suggestions. Tuning into your own breath is the most important, what feels good in your body. And next time the knees come in, we're going to separate the knees and do a little circle, bringing them around and back in together. And again, draw in, around, back. Don't worry about your breathing here, just breathe normally. If you like, you can circle the other direction as well. So Getting into the joints of the hips a little bit. Wonderful. And then when you're ready, you can bring your feet back to the floor. Have your feet a little bit apart to begin with. Later we'll bring them in together, but to start with, feet slightly apart. You can bring your arms down to your sides, beside your hips. Palms facing the ground, if that's okay with your shoulders. So we're going to tune into how movement with the arms shifts the spine, moves the body, and how that sort of supports the breath. So as we lift the arms up, you can take them as far back or bend them as much as you need to be comfortable, and then we'll bring them back down. Just notice how your spine changes shape. If it changes shape, it may not move. But for most people, there's a little movement in the spine when we lift and lower the arms. See if you can tune into that, even if it's very subtle for you. And some of you may have already started to coordinate your breathing, and you're welcome to do that if you'd like. So inhale as you lift the arms, and exhale as they lower. And we're letting the arms come down to the sides. We'll leave them there for the moment as we bring the ankles and the knees together now. So now you can continue with the arms, or if your shoulders have had enough, you can just get your arms out of the way and do just the legs for this part. Or if you're going to do arms and legs together, it's the exact same movement for the arms. This time the knees will come apart, soles of the feet come towards each other as you breathe in. And then you're coming back to your starting position as you breathe out. Again, if you want to just breathe freely, that's always an option. If you want to do just the arms or just the legs, still lots of good benefit there. So again, tune into how the body moves with the breath, the arm movements, how the spine is affected. So our theme is kind of layer, right? So last week we talked about paying attention to the body, and you can still do that. But now adding on the dimension of the breath, noticing how the breath and body move together. Okay, next time your knees come back together and your arms are down to your sides. Pause there, and again, you can bring the knees into the chest and any movement here. So maybe you want to rock a bit side to side. Maybe you want to repeat that forward and back movement of circles of your knees, or circling your knees together is another option. So just take a moment to give your back a little stretch, a little massage, a little release, whatever feels good. When you feel complete with that, you can let your feet come to the floor. We're going to slowly make our way to a sitting position. So the easiest, kindest way for your neck is just to roll to your side. Use your hand against the ground to support you and push you as you come upright. And then once you're there, you can find a comfortable seated position. Now that might be on the floor, or that might be on a chair or couch, the edge of your bed. Either way, whatever is comfortable for you. And if you are sitting on the floor, I always recommend for most people to sit on something. So I have this nice meditation cushion here, but a blanket or a block would do the trick as well. A small percentage of people are more comfortable sitting straight on the floor, cross-legged or with the legs stretched out. I am not one of those people. I find it really uncomfortable to sit straight on the floor. My lower back and my hips get super tired really quickly. So having a little bit of a lift under your bum is really helpful. And that allows your knees to drop down relative to your hips. So the lower your knees are relative to your hips, the easier it is to sit like this. So if your hips are really tight and your knees are up here, which is normal, common, then getting your bum higher can really be helpful in getting more comfortable. So hopefully you've been able to get what you need and you found yourself a comfortable seat. So from here, now we've got lots of space to notice the breath. So when we're lying on the ground, the breath is a little bit constricted in the back of the body. So we're going to come back into a little bit of breath awareness now. So I invite you to bring your attention to the front of your body. So most people can feel breath pretty easily, either the chest or the belly or both places. And we've already tuned into that area lying down. So now that we're sitting, I invite you to bring your attention to the front of the body. Simply feel the movement of your breath as it is. There's no need to change anything. Inhaling and exhaling, noticing the movement and the expansion in the front of your body. Your eyes can be open or closed, whatever you prefer. So now same breathing, but we're going to bring the focus to the back of the body, from the shoulders down to the hips, right even into the pelvis, so you can tune into the back of your body and notice, do you feel any movement of breath in the back of your torso? And if the answer is no, that's fine. So we're just tuning in and paying attention. There's no right or wrong way here. You're not trying to push the air anywhere. Just notice what happens naturally. And then letting that go, we're going to bring our awareness to the sides of the body, from the armpits right down to the hips. And same thing, just noticing, do you feel any movement of your breath in the sides of your body? Then letting that go, offer you a visualization. If this feels interesting to you to try, you can imagine a ball inside your chest, or where your lungs and heart are, in that area. And as you inhale, the ball expands to the front, to the back, and to the sides of your body, the areas that we were just looking at, as well as up and down. So it expands in all directions and then comes back in with your exhale. So again, eyes open or closed, whatever's most helpful to you. And see if you can imagine that ball expanding to the front, to the back, to the sides, up and down. As you exhale, all those points come gently back in toward the center. And again, you can let that go. So this is actually a really nice exercise, this paying attention to the breathing, that you can do anywhere, anytime. So focus on the front, the back, the sides, all separately, and then this ball breathing where you imagine the expanding, and it can give you just a little lift in your day. It doesn't need to take more than a couple of minutes. So from here, we'll do the seated cat-cow movement. And I think most of you are probably familiar with this on hands and knees at least. We arch the back, draw the shoulders back. There's a little lift of the head, but you don't want to throw the head back. So think about your head as a kind of extension of the curve of your spine. And then you're going to round the back and let the chin come in toward the chest. So that's the basic movement. You can try that with just your normal breath, breathing in any pattern that suits you. Not worrying about coordinating the breath and the movement together. Just feeling the body move. And breathing in your own time. So we're going to refine this movement bit by bit, and you can always go back to what we were doing before if the new suggestion doesn't work for you. So the next one is to coordinate the breathing, which would be to inhale as you arch, exhale as you round. Again, probably most of you are pretty familiar with this breath and movement. So you can try that, see how that feels. And then we'll have one more refinement. Again, if it feels good to you to try this, you can. Otherwise, just one of the first two suggestions. And so in this one, we're only going to breathe. No, we're only going to move when we're breathing out. So when we're breathing in, we're stationary. When we're breathing out, we're moving. So it takes 2 breaths to do the same movement that we just did in one. So take a normal breath in here. As you exhale, round your back, and then stay there as you inhale. Feel the breath move into the back of your body. And then as you exhale, lift back up and come into the arched position. Stay there as you inhale. Feel the breath in the front of your body. And then as you're moving, you're exhaling, staying as you inhale. And then again, moving on your exhale. Staying on your inhale. And do a few more, either like that or with one of the other patterns that I've already mentioned. So this gets us out of our normal rut of breathing, of always doing things the same way, and asks us to be a little bit more mindful. And then eventually returning to a neutral spine, just coming back to sit normally. And at any point, if you're sitting cross-legged, you can uncross your legs, stretch them out, give them a little shake or stretch if they start to fall asleep. You can always sit with your legs stretched out the whole time if that's comfortable. So now that opened up a little bit more space, perhaps in the front and the back of the body as we moved and opened and stretched those muscles. So now we're going to invite a little bit more space into the sides of the body. So this area we're focusing on with the breath as well. So again, we'll do it a few different ways, and you can choose which way works best for you. So the first way is not coordinating with the breath at all. You can bring your fingertips to the ground. If you're on a chair, you might use your hands against the chair. You want to really make sure you're stable, so both sit bones are anchored down. And then also, if you're on a chair, you might widen your feet a little bit so that you're in a wider base of support. So from here, taking one arm up, and we're going to lift up and a little over. So more up and a little over, and then come back, lifting, reaching up as you also reach over. So you want to keep the spine nice and long as you move into this very gentle side bend, warming up slowly. So you can stay with this free form movement, letting the breath be however it is and letting the movement happen at a pace that's comfortable for you. Or if you want to now start to coordinate the breath, what you would do is inhale as the arm comes up, exhale as it goes over, As you come up, you're going to want to switch arms as you breathe in. Exhale to the other side. And then again, you can either stay with this movement as it is, or you can add one breath to each side. So as you come over, another inhale, another exhale. Actually, you'll inhale, inhale into the position, exhale, then inhale, and then come back up. So I'll talk you through that. So you're going to inhale up, you'll exhale over, and then inhale, exhale, inhale up, switch, and exhale over. One breath here, inhaling and exhaling. Coming up. Let's do one more to each side. Wonderful. And then when you come back to the center, let's repeat the cat-cow movement. So inhaling and exhaling if you're coordinating breath, or just doing the movement and letting the breath be free. Great. So coming back to a neutral spine, again, anytime you need to stretch out or move your legs, do so just in your own way as you need. We'll work a little bit with the neck now, neck and face and head. So turning to the side, and then let your eyes follow behind you like you're trying to have eyes in the back of your head. So we're stretching the muscles of the eyes here as well. Come back to the center and then over to the other side. Again, looking far behind you with your eyes. And back to center. For this one, we'll keep the head completely level. And then looking up as far as you can toward the ceiling without lifting your chin. And then looking down as far as you can toward the floor without lowering your chin. And then bringing your eyes back to the center. You can rub your hands together and create a little heat. And then let the palms come over the eyes so there's no pressure on your eyelids at all. The heel of your hand is on your cheekbones, the base of your fingers on your eyebrow ridge. Just let the eyes relax for a moment. And then slowly release your hands. You can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever works for you. We'll take the head to the side again. And this time sweeping the chin down across the chest to come up to the other side. And back. So we don't really think about the neck and the face being involved in breathing, but the breath actually obviously comes in through usually the nostrils, could be the mouth as well. Goes into the sinuses from the nostrils, and then down the throat. So when we work with muscles of the face, the neck, we're also clearing some movement for the breath. Right, and then coming back to the center. You can take your fingertips now and bring them just underneath your eyes along the ridge of your cheekbones. And you give yourself just a little massage in there. And this is really nice actually if you have some any kind of congestion in your sinuses. This can help to relieve. So you're just using your fingertips, one or two fingers, to just little tiny circles, a little pressure into the sides of your nose and across the cheekbones. Okay, and then you can bring your fingertips to the forehead, just above your eyebrows. Just a little, same thing, a little massage from the inside near where your eyebrows come together to the outside. And then any tension, just shake that off. And so we often carry tension around the face and the eyes, and that can have some very subtle impact on the breath. All right, let's stretch the legs out, give them a shake, wake them up if they've fallen asleep. And then make your way to stand so you can get there however you like. So coming upright. You've got stuff on your mat, you can just clear it out of the way for now. And you'll come into mountain pose. So your feet are right under your hips, more or less parallel to one another, whatever's comfortable. And then see if you can roll your feet in and out a little. It's almost like, when you turn your ankle, but this is more deliberate. So rolling in and out, and then find a place in the middle where your feet are evenly planted. Okay, turning your palms out so you're opening the shoulders and externally rotating, and then let the arms lift. Taking a breath in, the chest lifts. We're stretching all through the side, the front and the back, and then exhale. You can bend your knees, come forward over your legs, hands to thighs or shins or wherever you can reach. And then coming back up. Palms open, fingers spread, heart lifting. Reaching up as you breathe in, and then exhale, slowly sinking down, letting your head release, back lengthen. So it's good to remember the general caution with forward bends if you have high blood pressure, to keep the forward bend a little bit less so your head stays level or above your heart. And that goes for any kind of pressure in your head. So if you've got an earache or sinus issues or anything like that going on, you want to add more pressure to your head. Okay, this time, if it feels good, you can stay in that forward bend. Again, it could be hands or elbows on your thighs, or you could dangle down, or if you've got a chair handy, you could use your chair to support you. Let's take a few breaths here. See if you can notice where you feel your breath when you're in this position. So get really curious about your breath. Since there's no right or wrong, we can just be curious and explore. Great, and then as you're ready, you can come all the way up. And exhale to release. So for the next movement, we'll be moving into warrior pose, warrior one. And we'll be adding a forward bend to that warrior one. So some people like to bring their hands to a chair to support them or blocks. So if that's the case and you have either of those things handy and you want to use them, you can bring them toward the front of your mat. So maybe I'll demonstrate you with blocks. And then we're going to have the left foot forward. It really doesn't matter which foot because we'll do both, but I'm going to start with the left foot. Right foot is back behind, and my back foot is turned out a little bit to the side, so I've got good balance, and my feet have a good space between them side to side, so I feel really sturdy here. And I'm going to bend my front knee, inhale and lift up, okay? And feel this stretch on the side of the body. And then we're going to bring the elbows down and then draw them back a little bit to lift the heart, lifting the heart. And then as you exhale, draw your belly button towards your spine, bring your hands together in front, round your upper back a little. So inhale, open elbows lower than the shoulders, lift the heart, and then use your belly to draw back, and you can straighten the front leg, even maybe bend the back knee as you bring your arms forward and then reverse. Inhale, opening, chest lifting. Exhale, belly moving back. Let's stay in the open position for a couple of breaths now. Feeling that lift in the heart. It's hard on your shoulders, arms can adjust and bring them down or move forward, whatever works. And then moving the front leg straighter, you can bend the back leg a little if that's comfortable. Hands come together, maybe elbows come together. Take a few breaths here and notice where you feel breath in this position. Right, and then opening, breathing in. And then we'll come forward. So for you, it could be hands to your thigh if that's where you can reach. If you have a chair, you can use your chair or your blocks. And let your head relax down. And always caution if you're working with your hands above your thigh here, just above your knee. When you move your leg straighter, you want to make sure you're not pushing back and locking or hyperextending your knee. So keep it a little bent. So we're going to do a little more bend, a little more straight. A little more bend, a little more straight. And then I invite you to find a position that's comfortable. So for me, little bend is good. I'll let my head relax down. Same caution with any pressure issues. I'm going to stay more up. And breathing here, notice where you feel breath as you come into this position. Okay, let's come all the way up now. Breathing in as you reach overhead and then release your arms down. Bring your feet together. Pause for a moment. And remember at the beginning of class, we were imagining ourselves split into two, one side to the other. And imagine that again and notice how one side feels through your whole body. And compare that with how the other side feels, again, through your whole body. Notice what's different, if anything. So again, we're layering last week's theme of paying attention to the body with this week's theme of noticing the breath. Now we'll work with the other side. So whichever foot was back will now be your forward foot. Back foot turned out a little to the side. And if you want to make things a little more challenging, wider stance, front to back. You want to make sure there's space between your feet side to side so you're well balanced here. Great, and we'll come into warrior, bending the front knee, elbows to the sides and down a little lower than the shoulders. And you can draw the elbows down and back to lift the heart as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, bring the hands together, maybe switch the bends of your knees. Inhaling naturally, when we bend the front knee, we're going to arch the back. And then as we straighten it and bend the back, naturally the back is going to round. So it's that same kind of cat-cow movement. Same influence of the legs and arms on our spines as we noticed lying down. Right, you can stay for a few breaths in that open position. Again, adjust if you need to make your shoulders happy. Feeling that lift in the heart. And then hands come together, maybe elbows come together or at least closer, breathing into the space of your back now. And then we'll open, bending the front knee. And then we'll come forward. So again, hands wherever you've got some support. Try to let your head relax unless you're dealing with any kind of pressure. And then again, you can move the front knee a little more bent, a little more straight. Just inviting a bit of movement into the back of that leg, but we're not trying to, never trying to force the stretch. And then finding that position where it feels like a really nice, comfortable stretch for you. If there is such a place for you, you may need to adjust and come higher if you can't be comfortable low. Let your head release. And then breathing into the back space of your body, noticing what you feel as you bring your attention to your back. Back of your shoulders, back of your rib cage, back of your waist, back of your pelvis. What do you notice? And then we'll come all the way up, breathing in, reaching overhead, finding that lift in the heart again, and then exhale to release. And you can come back to standing. And we want to bring the body back into equilibrium or into alignment after the asymmetry of the warrior pose. And we'll do a few forward bends to that end. So breathing in as you lift up. Soften your knees as you come forward, any amount. And then come all the way up. Exhale forward. Inhale lift. So maybe one more like this, and then I'll invite you to vary the breath if that feels right for you. So next time you come upright, you can lower your arms. And again, the invitation is to move freely, to move with the breath as we just did, inhaling up, exhaling forward. Or now you can go to that pattern that we've been bringing in throughout, where you only move on the exhalation. So we would breathe in here. Exhale, lift the arms. Breathe in here. Exhale, forward bend. Breathe in here. Exhale, lift. Breathe in here. Exhale, lower your arms. So it takes twice as long to do each round, and we're going to lower the arms in between each time. So if that feels right for you, you can follow me with that. Otherwise, just go to one of the other ones that we've already done. And it should feel a little bit awkward and maybe even challenging. It's totally different from how we normally move and breathe. And when we do this, it gets you out of your rut, right? It gets you back into the moment instead of just doing it routinely the way you always do it. So again, I'll talk you through the breath. And if you want to do it a different way, feel free. So we're going to take a breath in here. Exhale and lift. Take a breath in here. Exhale, forward bend. If you're breathing faster than me, don't try to slow down for me. Go at your own pace. Breathe in here. Exhale, lift. Breathe in here. Exhale, lower your arms. Breathe in. Exhale, move. Breathe in. Exhale, forward. Breathe in. Exhale, lift. Breathe in. Exhale, lower the arms. We'll do one more just like that. If you feel like you're starting to get lightheaded or dizzy at all, just breathe normally. So it's a little hyperventilation, a little more oxygen in the system. So just to regulate the carbon dioxide levels, you just breathe normally for a moment. So again, if you're following me, breathe in. Exhale and lift. Stay and breathe in. Exhale, forward bend. Let's stay for a couple of breaths this time. You can hang down or bring your elbows or hands to your thighs. When you're ready to move, you'll breathe in first, and then exhale to lift. Breathe in. Exhale to release. Great, and just pause here for a moment. All that focus on the breath, just let it go now. Take a few normal breaths here. Maybe tune into what you're noticing, body and breath, whatever's present right now. Doesn't have to be anything exciting or interesting, just what is. So we're going to make our way back down to the ground now, back down to lying down. So take your time to get there, and we'll be staying lying down until Shavasana. So if you want to have your blanket or whatever you might need for that handy, then make sure you've got what you need so that you can flow right into Shavasana after our movement lying down. Slowly wait for everyone to get settled. And come to lie down whenever you get there. And again, just bring your hands back onto your body where you can feel the breath, knees bent, or again, if you prefer, you can have them straight. And we'll tune back into the breath, just as we did at the beginning of the practice. Notice the rhythm, the flow, the texture, the quality of your breath. Notice if it feels any different after doing some movements and seated and standing, and lying down work. And again, if it doesn't feel any different, that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's our awareness and our tuning in that is the key here, not any specific noticing at all. Now let the arms come away from the body, at least a few inches away from your side, so you can feel free between your arm and your body. There's no binding up there. Palms face the ceiling, as long as that's comfortable for your shoulders, otherwise whatever works. And again, tuning into the breath. As you exhale now, press down into the soles of your feet until you feel your lower back snuggle into the ground, and then relax. Let your back come into its natural little bit of an arch away from the ground. And then as you exhale, press into your feet to bring the back into the earth. Again, inhale, relax. If you like, you can exaggerate this pelvic rocking motion a little bit, only if it feels good for you. Lifting up a little through the tailbone as you finish your exhale. Pressing down with the tailbone, finding a little more arch with your inhale. Just slowly tune in. If you want to just do the rocking and breathe normally, that's always an option too. Again, you have the option to stay with this breathing, either coordinating your breath and movement or just rocking the pelvis and breathing normally. Or if you want to join me in a gentle bridge pose, the next time you finish your exhale, instead of relaxing and breathing in to arch the back, you're going to start to slowly lift the vertebrae off the ground. So just normal breathing here. Breathe in and out as you slowly lift, coming into a nice, easy bridge pose. Check in that your face, neck, your jaw, your shoulders are relaxed. We're not trying to get the hips up to the ceiling or anything like that. It's really just lifting the hips so you can feel a little more spaciousness around your torso. And then expanding your breath into that space. If you want to lift a little more, you can do so by gently pressing into the feet, bringing the hips up. If that feels like a strain, I feel like I'm working too hard when I lift up, so I'm just going to drop down a bit to where it feels nice and easy. And for you, that could be an inch off the ground or even back to the ground at any point. So I'll invite you to slowly release down as you're ready. Once you come back to the mat, to give your back a little stretch in the opposite direction, you can plug the knees in and maybe draw them forward and back a few times. Right, and then your feet coming back to the floor. So you can have your feet either together or a little bit apart for this one. It's the spinal twist. So arms again, a little bit away from the body so you've got room. And if you want a little more stretch across the shoulders and chest, you can raise the arms a little higher. That's totally optional. Excuse me. So again, 3 options with the breath. One is completely free. You're just breathing normally as you take your knees side to side at any pace that's comfortable. You can let the head stay centered, or you can turn the head away from your knees if you like. So this first one, you're just breathing at any pace that's comfortable as you move your legs side to side. Notice how that feels. And then if you like, you can coordinate the breath the way we normally do, which is exhaling to the side and then inhaling to the center. See how that feels. If it feels any different from just the random breath and movement. Maybe you like one better than the other. Feel free to choose the one that feels most aligned for you. And then again, I'm going to offer you one more option here. And if you like, you can join me in that. You may have already guessed that the same pattern we've been using is only moving on the exhalation. So what you can do is start in the center. If you want to join me, bring your knees back to center, and you'll take a breath in here. And then you'll release the knees to the side, and you'll stay there and inhale. Exhale while you're moving back to center. Stay there and inhale. And then exhale to the side. Stay there as you inhale. Exhale back to center. Stay there as you inhale. And do 1 or 2 more to either side with whatever pattern you're working with. When you feel complete with the twist, again, we really want to bring the spine back into alignment before we move into Shavasana. So you can bring your knees up into your chest. Maybe repeat this forward and back movement a few times. And a nice way to work with the breath with this very simple movement is to let the breath initiate the movement. So if you start with the knees close to your body, start with beginning your inhalation and then letting the legs kind of follow. So as my belly presses into my legs, it kind of starts to push them away and then it follows. Take as many extra breaths as you need if I'm talking too slowly. And then on your exhale, just draw the belly back and let the knees kind of fold in towards your body. You can use your hands a little bit to guide. But let the breath start the movement. So you start to exhale and then the knees drop in. You start to inhale and then the knees reach away. So a few more like that, really letting yourself come into focus. And then vary the movements, so side to side, rocking, or little circles, whatever would feel good. We're going to start to wind down now and head into Shavasana. So I encourage you to take the next minute or two to just move in whatever way would feel good and eventually start to settle down. Maybe cover up or add some clothing if you need to be cozy enough in your space on this chilly day. And of course, you always have the option if you prefer to sit for Shavasana, if that's a better option for you, for any reason, whether it's more comfortable or you feel more alert and awake, you can choose to sit. In my experience, most people prefer to lie down for Shavasana, but it is not the case for everyone. So I find I sometimes like to sit at the end of my practice because I feel more energized afterwards. Lying down, I tend to feel more relaxed, and both are fantastic. And of course, the optimum is to feel relaxed and energized. So starting to find your comfortable position where you can spend the next few minutes in Shavasana. Make those little adjustments to your body or your clothing or whatever is covering you to be as comfortable as possible. Then I encourage you to simply notice that you're breathing. You might pick some point in your body, some point in the path of your breath to notice, like maybe paying attention to the feeling of breath in your nostrils as it comes and goes. Maybe being aware of the feeling of the breath through your throat. Or perhaps tuning into the feeling of breath around your heart or in your belly. So for now, just picking one spot and noticing that you're breathing. Noticing, get really curious about the movement where you've chosen, the sensation, the experience of your breath. And then let that go. Bring your awareness to the muscles of your face. Relax the muscles of your face and jaw. You might imagine or feel the breath coming in through your nostrils, coming into your sinuses, above and below your eyes. And then from there down into the throat. So just take a moment to focus on the feeling of the breath through the face and throat. And then keep following your breath from your nostrils, through the sinuses, through your throat, into the shoulder area. You may feel it other places as well, and that's fine. And then again, following the breath from the nostrils, through the sinuses, the throat, the shoulders, the chest. That same visualization from the nostrils to the sinuses, to the throat, to the shoulders, to the chest. And if you feel breath in your belly as well, you can follow it all the way down into the belly. And then follow the breath back out from the belly, the chest, the shoulders, the neck, the sinuses, and back out your nose. So take a few breaths. See if you can follow through that whole path, from the nostrils to the deepest point, you feel the breath and back out again. Stay with that breath. And feel free to let go of that intense focus on the breath and just let your body soften into the support of the ground. And I'll share with you a chant that talks about this awareness and feeling of the body and the breath, and how that contributes to a sense of us feeling more whole and complete. So when we come into mindfulness, when we focus on the present moment, we reduce stress in that we're not focusing on what was or what could be, just being with what is in the moment. When we come into that focus on the breath, it is said that we clear the veils that hide our inner light. And that chant has that same sentiment. So we've cleared some space, and now we can rest in that place of inner light. Namaya Shuddhantam Jyotiraham Virajavipakma Bhuya Sakkasvaha Pranamaya Shuddhantam Jyotiraham Virajavipakma Bhuya Sakkasvaha. As always, if you want to stay a little longer in Shavasana, you're more than welcome. And if you're ready to move on with your day, you can start to bring a little more awareness to your body again. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes to start to move some energy. Gradually move and stretch in any way that feels good to you. Taking your time. If you've been lying down and you're ready to come to a seated position again, you can roll to your side and make that transition as easeful as possible. So staying in that relaxed space, even as you bring in some movement and come upright. Wherever you are, taking a moment to thank yourself for making this time for yourself today, for giving this gift of yoga to yourself. Know that the breath is a tool that's always with you, that you can always call on to help bring a little more liveliness, a little more vitality into your body. Namaste. Enjoy your day.